The alarm clock screamed. 7 o'clock in the morning. Liam's eyes opened to the same familiar dread. Another day, another loop. Beside him, Lily lay asleep, her back a wall of cold indifference. He knew the routine. The careful escape from bed, the silent ritual of coffee and breakfast, the hope, always flickering, that this time might be different.
He moved through the kitchen, a ghost in his own life. Every action felt mechanical, rehearsed. The smell of burnt toast filled the air, a sharp reminder of his failures.
"Morning," she said, her voice devoid of warmth.
Liam's heart sank. Another day, the same painful script. They ate in silence, a chasm of resentment growing between them. Each bite was a struggle, every glance a reminder of their fractured connection. Liam knew he was walking on eggshells, desperate to avoid the inevitable explosion, but the tension crackled, a storm waiting to break.
The day continued its downward spiral. Every interaction felt strained, every word a potential landmine. Liam's attempts to please were met with icy indifference or sharp rebukes.
Lily's patience had worn thin, leaving only frustration and disappointment in its wake. Their love, once a source of comfort, had become a battleground. The day unfolded like a series of unfortunate events, each one chipping away at Lily's already fragile patience. He forgot to fill the car with gas, forcing them to make a detour on their way to lunch with her friends. Lily's sigh was a symphony of exasperation.
At the restaurant, he stumbled over the simplest of tasks. Ordering the wrong groceries, misplacing his wallet, spilling water on the table. Each blunder was met with Lily's increasingly icy demeanor.
Her friends, once welcoming, now exchanged knowing glances, their amusement barely concealed.
Liam felt like a clown, performing for an audience that was no longer laughing.
The car ride home was a deafening silence, punctuated only by the rhythmic hum of the engine. Liam gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white, his mind racing for a way to salvage the day. But the weight of his mistakes hung heavy in the air, suffocating any hope of reconciliation. Back at their apartment, the tension reached a fever pitch. Liam's clumsy attempts to help only seemed to exacerbate the situation. He dropped the keys twice, the metallic clang echoing through the silent apartment like a death knell.
"I'll do the dishes," he offered, his voice barely above a whisper.
"Don't bother," she snapped, her voice sharp as shattered glass. "You'll just find a way to mess that up too."
Her words struck him like a physical blow. The love he craved felt miles away, replaced by a cold, unbridgeable chasm. He tried to explain, to apologize, but the words caught in his throat. Lily's eyes, once filled with love and laughter, now burned with a cold fire of resentment. The argument that followed was a blur of raised voices and hurtful words. "You don't care about us," Lily accused. "You never listen. You're so wrapped up in your own world." Liam tried to defend himself, but his words fell flat. "I do care, Lily. I'm trying my best." "Your best isn't good enough," she retorted. The finality in her voice was like a punch to the gut. Accusations flew like daggers, each one finding its mark, drawing blood. That night, Lily made a decision. With a resolute expression, she packed a bag, her movements sharp and final.
"I'm done, Liam. I can't do this anymore."
Liam's pleas fell on deaf ears. He watched, helpless and heartbroken, as she walked out of his life. The slam of the door reverberated through the apartment, a final punctuation mark on their shattered relationship. Later that night, seeking solace in the cool night air, Liam stumbled upon a scene that twisted the knife deeper into his gut. Lily sat at a table outside a cafe, surrounded by her friends, her laughter echoing through the night. Curiosity drew him closer, and what he heard sent a wave of shame washing over him.
And then he tripped over his own feet. I mean, can you believe it?
Lily was recounting the day's events, her voice laced with mockery as she described his every fumble and misstep.
"Oh, that's classic, Liam."
Yeah, always good for a laugh.
Her friends, his supposed friends, roared with laughter, their amusement a painful reminder of his humiliation. He was the butt of their jokes, a source of entertainment, his pain a punchline. The next morning, The jarring buzz of the alarm clock ripped Liam from a restless sleep. 7 a.m., Groundhog Day, again. A wave of nausea washed over him as he remembered the previous day's events. He was trapped, caught in a horrifying loop of his own failures. The day unfolded with the sickening predictability of a broken record. The burnt toast, the empty gas tank, the wrong groceries, each mistake a cruel echo of the day before. And each night the same agonizing scene, Lily's cold fury, the bitter argument, the slam of the door, the echo of her laughter with friends. He was living the same day over and over, each iteration a fresh wound on his soul. The world moved on, oblivious to his torment, but Liam was frozen, forced to relive his mistakes in an endless, agonizing cycle. Desperation clawed at Liam. He had to break free from this torment to find a way to make things right. He began to obsess over every detail, hoping that by changing his actions, he could change the outcome. He woke up earlier, meticulously followed Lily's grocery list, even practiced his apologies in the bathroom mirror. But no matter how hard he tried, the day always ended the same way, with Lily's heart hardening, her patience snapping, and finally, her departure. Each failed attempt chipped away at his hope, leaving him feeling increasingly powerless and defeated. The loop had become a prison, its bars forged from his mistakes and his inability to escape them. One day, amidst the despair, a sliver of hope emerged.
As I replayed the now familiar argument with Lily, I noticed a subtle shift in her demeanor. Her anger seemed less intense, replaced by a flicker of something else. Resignation, perhaps, or even a hint of sadness.
Could it be that his efforts, though futile in changing the overall outcome, were starting to chip away at the wall between them? Was there a chance, however small, that he could win back her heart, even within the confines of this repeating nightmare?
The thought, audacious and terrifying, took root in my mind. I clung to it like a lifeline, a glimmer of light in the suffocating darkness of my despair.
Perhaps, just perhaps, this loop was not a curse but an opportunity to redeem himself, to earn back her love, to finally break free. The weight of the repeating day pressed down on Liam like a physical burden. The initial shock had morphed into a numbing dread, a chilling acceptance of his predicament.
I was caught in a time warp, condemned to relive my mistakes ad infinitum. Yet, with this realization came a perverse sense of liberation.
The first time he deliberately deviated from the script, it was an act of rebellion, a desperate attempt to assert some control over his chaotic reality. He skipped the gas station, ignoring the blinking fuel light and Lily's increasingly frantic reminders. The world didn't end. The sun continued its descent, casting long shadows that stretched like mocking fingers. The realization that he could alter the events, albeit within the confines of this repeating day, was intoxicating. He began to experiment, at first with trepidation, then with growing audacity.
I ordered a different coffee, deliberately spilled my breakfast, even dared to challenge Lily's criticisms.
The outcomes were inconsequential, mere ripples in the grand scheme of their fractured relationship. Yet each deviation brought a flicker of satisfaction, a sense of agency in a world that had stripped him of his control.
I was a puppet master, manipulating the strings of my own miniature tragic play.
The novelty of his newfound power began to wear thin. He could orchestrate the perfect breakfast, recite Lily's favorite poetry, even predict her every word. But the result remained unchanged. The coldness in her eyes, the finality of her departure, it was a constant, a stark reminder of his failure.
A chilling thought took root in my mind. What if the flaw lay not in my actions, but in myself? What if I was inherently flawed, unworthy of Lily's love?
The doubt gnawed at him, whispering insidious doubts that chipped away at his resolve. He could control the events of this day, but could he truly change who he was? The question hung heavy in the air, a spectre haunting his every waking moment. The loop, once a prison of repetition, now felt like a cruel mirror, reflecting back his own perceived inadequacies. Despair threatened to consume Liam, but a spark of defiance flickered within him. He was tired of being the failure, the punchline of his own tragic story. The loop, once a curse, became his crucible. He would use this time, this endless repetition, to transform himself, to become the man he always aspired to be, the man he believed Lily deserved.
I started small. I woke up before the alarm, went for runs, ate healthy breakfasts. The burnt toast became a distant memory, replaced by the aroma of fresh fruit and strong coffee. I tackled neglected tasks, organized my life, and pursued long-abandoned passions.
The world outside his window remained unchanged, locked in its repetitive cycle. But within the confines of his apartment, Liam was evolving. He carried himself with a newfound confidence, his steps lighter, his gaze clearer. The man in the mirror was no longer a stranger, but a work in progress, a testament to the power of self-improvement. Liam's transformation extended beyond his apartment walls. He channeled his energy into his work, surprising colleagues with his newfound focus and dedication. He climbed the corporate ladder, his success a testament to his unwavering commitment. But his ambitions went beyond personal gain.
I volunteered at local charities, my empathy and compassion blossoming. During a fundraising event, a fire broke out, plunging the room into chaos. Without hesitation, I guided people to safety, my quick thinking and bravery saving a man's life.
News of his heroism spread through the town, turning him into an overnight local celebrity. His face graced newspaper articles, his story shared with admiration and respect. Liam, the once unremarkable man trapped in a loop of his own failures, had become a beacon of hope, a symbol of resilience and the transformative power of second chances. Lily couldn't help but notice the changes in Liam. News of his success and heroism reached her, each story chipping away at her anger and resentment. Gone was the man who fumbled through their days, replaced by someone confident, accomplished, and genuinely kind.
I couldn't believe it at first. The man in those stories, was that really Liam?
Their paths crossed again, at first by accident, then with increasing frequency. Liam treated her with the same kindness and respect, even though the sting of their past lingered between them.
Hey Lily, it's good to see you.
You too, Liam. You've changed.
He didn't beg for forgiveness or try to rekindle their lost love. Instead, he let his actions speak for themselves. Lily found herself drawn to his newfound warmth and strength.
I never thought I'd say this, but I like this new you.
His humor, once a source of annoyance, now brought a smile to her lips. His touch, once taken for granted, now sent shivers down her spine. The ice around her heart began to melt, replaced by a cautious curiosity, a flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, this new Liam was someone worth letting back into her life.
Maybe we can start over, Liam. See where this new path takes us.
I'd like that, Lily. I'd really like that.
The annual charity gala shimmered under a canopy of twinkling lights, a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing within Liam. He stood tall, impeccably dressed, a picture of success and charm. Yet beneath the surface, his heart ached with a familiar emptiness. Lily, radiant in a sapphire gown, stood by his side, her laughter reaching him like a distant melody. Liam as S1. "Excuse me, I need a moment." He excused himself, seeking a moment of respite from the suffocating charade. Stepping onto the balcony, he inhaled the cool night air, hoping to quiet the storm within. That's when he saw her, Sophie. She stood at the far end of the balcony, her silhouette outlined against the city lights. Her laughter, genuine and carefree, reached him like a forgotten melody. Something in her posture, a quiet confidence and warmth, drew him in. Their eyes met across the crowded balcony, and in that instant, the world seemed to shift on its axis. Liam found himself drawn to Sophie like a moth to a flame. They talked for hours that night, their conversations flowing effortlessly from light-hearted banter to shared dreams and vulnerabilities. Sophie possessed a rare combination of intelligence, wit, and a disarming honesty that chipped away at the walls Liam had so carefully erected. Liam as S1 with Sophie, there were no pretenses, no need for grand gestures or carefully constructed facades. She saw me, the man behind the mask of success and heroism, and appreciated me for who I truly was. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, Liam felt seen, understood, and accepted without judgment. The contrast to his life with Lily was stark. Reclaiming their relationship had been a triumph, a testament to his perseverance and transformation. Yet, a part of him couldn't shake the feeling that it was built on a foundation of past hurts and carefully navigated expectations. The days that followed were a blur of stolen moments and conflicting emotions. Liam found himself living a double life, one with Lily, where he played the role of the redeemed partner, fulfilling the image he had so painstakingly crafted. Liam as S1, and another with Sophie, where I could shed the mask, revealing the raw, vulnerable parts of myself without fear of judgment. The weight of his secret pressed down on him, threatening to shatter the fragile peace he had built. The loop, once his prison, now felt like a sanctuary, a buffer zone between two worlds that seemed impossible to reconcile. He knew he couldn't continue this charade forever. The final day of the loop was fast approaching, and with it, the agonizing decision he had been dreading. The familiar dread of dawn arrived, the alarm clock's shrill cry a harbinger of the loop's end. 7 a.m. This time, however, it wasn't a repetition but a deadline, a day of reckoning. Liam lay awake, the weight of the impending choice pressing down on him like a physical burden. Beside him, Lily slept, oblivious to the turmoil raging within him. Liam as S1. It's time. He rose silently, each movement echoing the countless times he had performed this same ritual. The day unfolded before him, a familiar script he could recite by heart. The burnt toast, the forgotten errands, the escalating arguments, they were all there, ghosts of mistakes past, waiting to be exercised or repeated. Yet today, they felt different. Insignificant against the backdrop of his monumental decision. He found himself at the crossroads, the same spot where he had first encountered Sophie. The air crackled with unspoken energy, a tangible manifestation of his internal struggle. Two paths diverged, each leading to a different future. Liam as S1. One path, familiar and well-trodden, led back to Lily. A life of shared history, rebuilt trust and the comfort of the known. The other, shrouded in uncertainty, beckoned with the promise of something new, something real, something terrifyingly unknown. Sophie's laughter echoed in his ears, a siren song pulling him towards a future he could only imagine. As the sun began its final descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and violet, Liam closed his eyes, his heart pounding against his ribs. The decision he knew would reverberate through the fabric of his existence, shaping the man he was destined to become. And in that moment, poised on the precipice of choice, Liam took a deep breath and made his decision.